Good afternoon, everyone. So, I have a few different goals by Ian Speech. The original, don't be terribly corny, and speak short, sweet. Well, sometimes goals change for the better, so I reckon. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart once said, "The music is not the notes, but it is the silence in between." Up until recently, I didn't understand that. For nearly the entire this year, I thought that if I got through the next test, the next game, the next rehearsal, the next performance, I could finally relax. That moment of realization never really came. Every time I reached one goal, another one takes place. I realized I'd become so focused on what's next that I wasn't being an image to where I already was. Looking back, it feels like I get a solid wing through more than a moment this past year. And one move that I got. I think many of us who spent so much time reacting to the future that we forgot that it's living for something worth remembering. We live in a world where the once brighter green push is can never stop. Keep grinding until you achieve what you want. Until you get those grades, get into that school, get on that team, get that career, get that house, get that life. It's an unjustifiable comparison and convincing yourself that the growth you have had is nothing because you had reached that goal. Well, that brings us to a point. What is the goals? Any considered institution will give you similar statistics. There are significant increase in depression and anxiety over the past 2.5 years. In that time, the rise of social media has become one of the biggest parts of our lives. A study published in the National Library of Medicine states that deterioration in mental health is one of the main side effects getting from social media openness. Now, I know there are all words there, but my point is simple. There's an ever-increasing amount of noise in the world, and a lot of it is on you what or who you should be. Now, if that you know already, that was near own. And whatever it's saying, that's usually pretty loud too, for some of us. Others that wish probably be a little bit louder. Anyway, I feel rather confident to the assumption that, for as quiet as speaking through, it's not quiet at all. Mozart suggested that the beauty of music exists not only in the notes, but in the silence between them. And you let it exist this way. I challenge you all to go to tracks, write a letter on paper, learn something new, anything that isn't listening to the pressure of the outside world, or, for once, to attempt to minimize the sound coming in front of yourself. To my peers, we're about to enter a world that is all about the next thing, the next sec, and finishing the next task. And while I wish you all the most sunlight, there's something I want you to suffer. As you continue to go hustle and bustle, I urge you to stop and find the seconds. Find you to going with quiet when you're alone and when no one's watching. The moments that will forever look back on and cherish won't be my next achievement. I'm going to the little things. The jokes you made on the summer field and the conversations you had with the devouring band. Those are what would make that. The silent moments built in nights that they land in the hall without thinking twice across how you remember it. I use silence oftentimes results in finding yourself, or rather, reminding yourself of who you are and what is possible. When you remember that, the big and loud and negative waves, and the life that you're living now spark clatter of living light. Now, before we rush off to whatever comes next, we should take a moment to appreciate this one. Because someday, this might be one of those hours if we look back on and it's the best. The music is not in the notes, but in the silence in between. Thank you.
Canal time for host here in this little setup.
Sorry, I'm going to talk to them. Good afternoon. Thank you. First, I would like to tell you how honored I am to be that you chose me to be your staff speaker. Most of you I had the pleasure to teach either during your sophomore or junior year in history class. I remember telling you in class how fast your high school years would go. Well, here we are, all dressed up in our fancy clothes. I know for some of you that the last few months have seemed like the longest of your lives. I can tell you, some of your teachers feel the same way. That being said, as a staff, we are proud of you and all that you have accomplished to reach this important milestone. I know for some of you, it has been a long struggle to reach this moment. No matter how difficult the struggle, you should feel like you've reached the top of the mountain. Some of you may want to scream at the top of your lungs, "I have arrived!" Come on, come on. Here. I have arrived? Thank you, appreciate that. And to be honest, you should take some moments to acknowledge this important event in your life. Although you need to understand that this is not the last climb, but merely the first. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this lifelong adventure. We, as your teachers, have enjoyed watching you grow and mature for the last few years. Some of us sitting here today had the pleasure of watching you set out on the journey beginning in elementary school. Some even went in those really awkward moments of middle school. Yeah. As your high school teachers, many of us were first introduced to you as you did get your tour at the end of your 8th grade year. The upperclassmen talked about how small you really were. But remember, you did the same thing to those behind you. We watched you take so many steps to progress to who you are today. We are very proud of all of you and how you have grown over the years. In preparation for this speech, I tried to look back into history to give you a prediction of how the world will be in the next 10 years. I even went home and dug through my closets and came up with my old crystal ball that I had purchased many years ago in a small back alley in Istanbul. I peered into it for many hours, trying to get this clear picture for you. But alas, things were very cloudy. It could be because of the current world climate, or maybe the ball was just a little dirty. It's been in there for a while. I've decided, since I can't give you a very clear prediction, I've decided to give you some advice on your next steps. Many of you might remember that in my class I did something called 5 minutes out of Elma. I typically did this on a Friday. If you don't remember, please humor me. For those of you who do not know, this part of my class was a short segment where I tried to show you a little bit of the world. It might have been a small village in Eastern Europe, or maybe it was tuk-tuk racing in Sri Lanka. I wanted to show you that the world is not as scary as some of you might think. So here it is, your last 5 minutes out of Elma. Typically, I'd show you some pictures and tell you about the places or things that you would be discussing. Today, I have no pictures. You are the images. Here we go. Here's the topic. You need to get out of Elma. Workhouse. But before you make that mad dash to the door, like it's a 3 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, I want you to understand this next part very clearly. Come back. But only after you have experienced the world a little bit and had it enriched U.S. person. Don't wait. Do this while you're young. Many people right now are telling you to get a job, to go to school. And I would say it is really good advice, as long as it's not an element. Adventure now. Do not put this off until later, because the more comfortable you become, the harder it will be to leave. Many of your teachers who graduated from Elma will tell you that this is true. They left and the world changed them. As a child, my family did not have the money to travel. And even though my parents saved, we never took those trips. And sadly, those opportunities slipped away. My advice to you is to travel as far as you can and prepare to have your mind blown and your life enriched more than you can imagine. You are only young once, and this is the time for you to continue to shape who you are and what you believe by experiencing more diverse areas of the world, even if that is only to Olympia. It will shape you into a different person with deeper perspectives. Now, you may be worried that something bad is going to happen to you as you explore. You're right. Bad things can happen, no matter where you are. But honestly, the most scared I have ever been was in my own hometown. Many of you know that I spent 7 years living in Lebanon. If I had that fear of the unknown stopped me, I would have missed out on the greatest adventure of my life to this point. Go forward and grab your future with confidence and not fear. Finally, this is where your friends and family can breathe a little easier with what I'm saying. Be safe. As a seasoned traveler, I've learned to trust my gut. If something does not seem right, walk away. Trust what all of us have said and have tried to teach you what is right or wrong. If you know something is bad or unhealthy, stay away from it. Make good decisions, but make even better friends. If you do that, your odds of being safe will skyrocket. When the time is right, come home. You may not stay here because you have found that your life is taking you someplace different. But every time that you come home at Elma, you will further enrich this community because of the new experiences that you have had. Class of 2026, it is my pleasure to be your teacher, and I am so honored to speak to you. Best of luck as you navigate the next chapter of your lives.
And now the Elma High School band will play this worldly conduct.